There is more than a touch of fairy tale about our guest this week. Mimi Hill was the 12th pick of the 2020 AFLW draft and in her debut season with the Blues last year, played 6 games. There was a nightmare twist. She did a serious knee injury last March, tearing her left ACL. But the fairy tale was revived. When Mimi returned to the Carlton lineup just 3 weeks ago, she didn't just return. This 19-year-old ripped it up in the midfield. In fact, against Adelaide, the AFLW's leading team and midfield, she gathered a career-high 26 touches. No surprise that Mimi won an AFLW Rising Star nomination that week. She is fast, she's now averaging 21 touches a game this season, and Mimi Hill is with us on the W today. Mimi, the mic is yours, and you and Sharni have a connection, so go for it. Tell us what it is, and give us a bit of extra special juice on Sharns.
Thanks for having me, Sam. Sharns, well, she's my boss, to be honest, at MLC. And yeah, she runs the Stars netball program there. What can I say about Sharni? I actually met her first when I did a bit of a train on at Collingwood, and she was very welcoming. You can hear her from a mile away, obviously. She actually fills in for the MLC netball team occasionally. So here's I think it's just a Saturday comp. And here's a bunch of women just play casual netball, and there's Sharni Layton, ex-Australian player, hopping on the court. So that's great. I know she also steals some of her teammates' clothing.
Shut up, Mimi! Yep. You started so nicely, Mimi.
Mate, you got to watch out for Sharni, seriously.
All right, that's enough, Mimi, that's enough. I was thinking we were just going to get you on so you could say great things about me all day, but we were like, who can we get on today? And I said, well, I know someone. I think she's great. She's a bit worried about being unprofessional, but I assured Mimi that I also am unprofessional as I'm currently recording a podcast out of school today. But Mims, look, we're so pumped to have you. And as you said, we first met down at Collingwood. You were with the Oakley Chargers. You came to train with the Mighty Pies until you were a trader and then went to Carlton as pick number 12, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's true. Look, it wasn't like I didn't get to choose where I was going, Sharni.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. But you were a phenomenal football, obviously, for Oakley Chargers, for MLC Stars as well. But before we get to you and about you personally, let's chat about the last 2 weeks. You had a bit of a rough start to the season. You obviously lost Taylor Harris last year, so a bit of rejiggling there in the forward line. But what's really come together for you as a team over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was a tough start, but it's been really fun playing the last 2 weeks with the team. I think we kind of just, after the Fremantle game, we sat back and we thought, all right, something needs to change here. And we knew we weren't far off it. Like, we knew that something was going to click and then we were going to start playing good footy as a team. So we had a chat, players only, and we just said, look, like, if you're not going to be all in, then like, tell us now. And I think that was kind of good for everyone to kind of be having a bit of a shock. And we've just played with a bit of belief the past 2 weeks, and it's been great. And I think everyone's put in. Even just if you look at like the disposals of the team, it's like no one below 7, but nobody above like 20. So that's pretty good. You know, like everyone's putting in. So I think that's probably the main thing. We're just all there, and we're all hungry to win. And like we're probably not going to make finals. I don't know, I haven't calculated it. It's probably about 0.5. So we're really just wanting to make a point for the rest of the season and just, try and win these last few games or just be competitive.
Mimi, more than competitive on the weekend. You beat the GWS Giants by 18 points. And I want to take us back with a bit of soundscape, because not only was there a win, your first back-to-back one in some time, there was a very special milestone for the entire competition. Let's have a little listen to the voice of the one and only Darcy Vesio.
First AFLW player to reach 50 goals. How did it feel to reach that tonight?
I cannot hear. I hardly heard that, but it's a great honour to kick goals for these girls. They're very wonderful team. So, yeah, if I can finish with them, I'm very happy. Yeah, they're not usually this rowdy. Nah, they've been with me through the points as well. So, yeah, this is theirs as much as it is mine.
So, Mimi, Darcy Vescio has done something that no other AFLW player has done yet. Give us a bit of an insight, because you've got the very close range view of all this.
Yeah. Look, Darcy is very humble. I think a lot of people know that. So we didn't know that it was Darcy's 50th goal. Like, a few people were aware, but I wasn't aware. So I'm a bit annoyed, because I wanted to know so that we could have gotten around them on the ground a bit more when they kicked the goal. But yeah, it's just like, it's been a pretty tough season for Carlton, obviously, and Darcy. It's taken a little bit longer to get into the season, but it's pretty exciting seeing Darcy play their best footy again, kicking snaps from all angles. And the work that Darcy's put this off season, is crazy. You should see them in the gym. It's actually terrifying. Darcy's just doing pull-ups with 30 kilos hanging off them. It's quite terrifying. So yeah, I'm really happy for Darcy that they reached that milestone, and there's no other player that you'd really want to get there first, because Darcy is just so humble and such a good teammate.
And what does that do for you, Mimi, being surrounded by players like Darcy? Obviously, you've had such a great start, and then we'll touch on you being out for a bit and coming in halfway through the season with your ACL injury. But what kind of inspiration does Darcy bring to you?
Darcy, this is a bit random, but Darcy is probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. So when I got drafted to Carlton, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. I get to meet Darcy. And the wisdom that Darcy brings to all us younger players, we've got a lot of young players. It's just really great to have a player like that in our team. Darcy leads in a bit of a different way. Obviously, they're in the leadership group, but we have our other leaders who are a bit louder. But Darcy's more has little conversations to the side, tells you, teaches you a few little things, and just really make sure you're okay. Always checking in, which is what you need from someone on the team. So yeah, it's been great to be Darcy's teammate. And I said to Darcy last night, I want to play with you forever. Aww. And look, you never know. I'm going to hold on for as long as I can. So I said that's a good result.
That's beautiful. And
that's really nice.
And we know it. We all do. Darcy leads on the field, but Darcy has led us off the field as well, and continues to do that. I'm really interested, Mimi, from your perspective. Darcy, only a few short weeks ago, made an announcement which has been really serious in terms of a person's life, in terms of making a choice and declaring, as Darcy did, that a non-binary status is what Darcy wanted to announce to the world. What sort of enlightenment, education, use whatever word you like, has that triggered within your community, within the Carlton Footy Club? I've loved hearing Daniel Harford, your coach, talk about that, and even sharing that there will be days, there'll be interviews where he doesn't get the pronoun right. I noticed he actually did that yesterday, using they and then she, and I thought, oh my God, Daniel would hate that, and yet Darcy had given Daniel and the entire team, space to be learning. I'm just fascinated. You're 19 years old. Again, just tell us what you can and what you're comfortable with about this from your perspective.
Yeah. I think, like you said, with Half, it's pretty exciting, because he's actually gotten a lot better with the pronouns. I think at the start it was he felt a bit awkward about it, didn't really know what to say, but to see him even just using they occasionally, it's just an improvement. But yeah, it's a real education for the whole team. Lots of people probably had never met a non-binary person before, never had to change their pronoun use. So it's actually been, it's good. And I think we try to hold each other accountable to it. If someone says the wrong pronoun, we'll just say quietly, oh, they, to keep everyone, making sure Darcy feels comfortable in the environment. And we want to make Darcy feel as comfortable as they can. And if that means changing pronouns, it's so easy for us to do. And it was actually pretty exciting at first, because when we heard a few of us got together and thought, oh, what like cool words can we use to like pump Darcy up? So obviously you have like yes, like for you're referring to like a female, yes queen, like, and we were like, there's no like in between. So we made up a few words like queen, king and queen put together.
Love it.
It was actually quite fun, like researching. I think Darcy thought it was pretty cool that like we wanted to research for them, and I'm sure it's very taxing. Like you're trying to play your best footy, but then you also have this other thing that's going on, and you're not sure how the public are going to take it. And like obviously AFLW receives so much criticism already. It's very Darcy put themselves in a very vulnerable position by announcing that to the public. So I think recently things have settled down a little bit, which is nice because Darcy's just gone to play the best footy, which is exciting. But at first, yeah, it was very emotional, and like the only person who can really speak to that is Darcy, I guess, the roller coaster that they went on.
Let's go back to last year. You get picked up, you've been playing amazing, you start off with Carlton, and then you go down with your first ACL in your first season, and it must have just hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. It was a shock. I did not expect it to happen to me. Like, no one expects it to happen to them, but I knew as soon as I did it, as soon as I went down, I was like, I've done my ACL, and that was, yeah, it's a lot. But the AFLW community is just amazing in supporting athletes because sadly it happens too often.
Well, yeah, especially at the moment. And I think for you, I would love to be able to go into so much, but just to start off with, what is the rehab process and the time? We're seeing so many, and me and Sam have chatted about today, the amount of players that have done their ACLs this season. But, how long did you have to take off for that rehab process?
So because I did mine near the end of the season, it's like in one way it's good because I don't get as much FOMO as you could say, like not playing. But then again, like the season ends and everyone goes off and does their own thing, but you're an athlete that still needs to be rehabbed and you still need all the support to get back to your best. And I was like very fortunate that Carlton put a lot of money and resources into making sure I could get back to being the same athlete I was before. So yeah, I just think it's really important, like, that you do have somebody like overseeing your rehab in the off season. Obviously men's is full time, so they don't usually have that issue. But yeah, so I did it around 6. Pretty much you get into the gym straight away doing a bit of prehab. Had surgery. I was fortunate to get surgery pretty quickly, whereas I just was shocked to see, like, it's just horrible to see these athletes this season with all the COVID protocols. They couldn't get their surgery for a little while, which it affects everything because then the next season's coming around so quickly. It's just they're going to miss quite a bit of footy, which is I'd be very flat about. Anyway, I got surgery done. It all went really well. And then the season's over, so I was kind of just doing rehab by myself, which is like pretty lonely. But luckily, I had Mitch Greaves. He's a I don't know what you call it, exercise physiologist. And he has a gym, so I was lucky enough to do a lot of work with him. Got me really strong. And then, yeah, it's pretty dark over the winter period. Like everything's a bit, and we also were in lockdown, so I was like, oh, this is great, isn't it? But yeah, and then I was just really happy to get back to training when preseason started again. It felt like pretty overwhelming. When we went into the club to have a meeting about how the next preseason would work. So I was like, oh, I have so much to do to get my knee right so that I can be back for any part of the season. So I was just like really happy my rehab went so well that I was able to get back for preseason. But like I know a lot of players would be looking at it like there is just no time for me to get this knee right and then play footy because there's the whole mental aspect as well.
It's great to see you back, Mimi. We mean that sincerely. And I'm picking up on a couple of things you've said there, that men in the system are so well supported. Tell us, if you don't mind, like when you do an ACL and you are 19 years young, are you left out of pocket at all in terms of what you need to do, not only just an operation, but getting yourself strong and better?
I think it kind of differs from each club. Like Carlton supported me so well financially that I was fine with that. But I know talking to other athletes I don't know if I should say their names, but other AFLW players, they have actually outsourced and just like found someone themselves rather than going through the club, because they want to get the best support for their knee, and they didn't feel like they were getting that at their club. And it's so hard because like the staff are part-time, and we love our staff. We're so like appreciative of them, but there's only so much they can do when they have all their other job as well. So yeah, I think players do find, I think it's better if I just pay this extra money and go somewhere else to get the best rehab.
Mimi, do you share the concern that actually, or do you even join the dots between this crunched season that we're having the Christmas break, the New Year, the way that was split, and then how you're being asked to play your games, scheduled to play your games right now, FIFO experiences which you've had, and then the injury that, maybe through the extra fatigue. Now, we can't test this, but I'm just interested from the coalface what your view is, potentially even your experience with this.
Yeah, obviously I'm not like a scientist or anything, but I definitely think that there's a connection. I think a lot of us have had the conversation about that Christmas period break, which you want to get back and see your family and, have that time. It's great. But then the fact that some teams didn't even have like a full training session before they played when they came back, that's just frightening. Like, how are you expected to be prepared, your body to be prepared for that? And I'm not sure, there was quite a few ACLs that week, and it's there. The facts, it's not facts, I guess, but you can see that.
Yes.
It's hard to make that connection.
Do you have your own fears, Mimi? Like, you've literally just come off an ACL. So when they're putting these games together, are you do you still think about it, or do you know that you've done the work and that your body's okay?
I'm very confident with my body at the moment, and like you kind of have to be if you're coming back from an ACL. They wouldn't really let you play, which is great.
Yes.
Like there always is that fear when you've done an ACL, that it could happen again. But I kind of just said, look, if it happens again, it happens again. Like, it's just going to happen. That's how life was set out, I guess. So yeah, but there is always that thought in the back of your head. I think it was like a blessing, a little bit of blessing, but also, I don't know, like the fact that I did it at Icon Park, home ground. Obviously I'm going to play there lots of times. It's kind of good because it takes away that psychology. Like I trained there so many times, just rehearsed it. So that was kind of good. But I know that some players, that can be a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, or you have to get over that monkey on the back, I guess, is what I'm hearing. Mimi, let's project, because we've had a great chat with you. We don't have much time left. You mentioned the Blues form. It was such a tough start, and it hasn't been the season that you wanted, despite the 2 wins in the last 2 weeks. You're hosting the Suns on Sunday twilight. Then you've got Melbourne at Casey in round 10. What will success look like for you if you can project to the end of this season? Of course, it would have been finals, but what will it look like if you can achieve it?
Obviously, we'd love to be 5-5. I think if we win all the games, that would be. But like, if that's not achieved, we want to just keep playing the footy that we're playing. We've still got stuff to work on. We could still be like put on a better performance even from like yesterday. But just keep playing the footy that we're playing. I kind of said in the group yesterday, look, we're probably never going to be the same team again after this season, just with all the expansion. So it's such a great group. We may as well just, play as hard as we can and enjoy it. So yeah, I think that's probably the main thing.
Do you have that feeling in the group that people are going to go? Like, I don't know. From the outside, I'm just waiting for this season to finish and just to see all these players go vroom to all these new clubs. And I just don't know if people are already thinking about it or if that's a thought in your head, but obviously for you, you're using it in a positive way to keep the group together.
Yeah. I think it's inevitable. Like, you can't, like, there has to be change. No list has ever stayed the same any year for any AFL, AFLW. So going to happen, maybe on a larger scale this year, which is quite scary. I know myself just conducting a few conversations to people like, oh, what are you thinking? Just because I'm getting nervous. But yeah, there will be movement, Sharni.
Oh, you're so mature. I'm just so proud of my little Mimi, who's not so little anymore. I'm just this proud mum.
Just wiping the tears, Mimi.
I'm just wiping the tears away.
We have loved talking to you. You want to play footy. We want to watch you play footy. Thank you so much for your insights today and sharing such passion that you have. You are 19 years young and yet speaking with the wisdom and candour, I've got to say, of a seasoned veteran. So thank you for joining us here. Sharni must be teaching you a thing or two.
Oh, yeah, it's all Sharni, I reckon.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.